Hey everybody, welcome to the Digital Imaging channel. I'm your good friend Will, and today we're going to talk about what you should expect during your digital conversion project. We're actually going to talk about two things. The first being what you should not expect during your project, and then after that we'll go into what you should expect. Kind of, kind of two sides of the same coin, in effect, but it's good to get into details of each because there are a little bit of nuances, a little bit of differences, and you should know what you are getting into when you start a digital conversion project, or at least while you're talking to companies and scoping out your work. So with that, let's get into it, and we'll start with what you should not expect in your digital conversion project. Let's go. Okay, starting off with what you should not expect during your project. Number one, don't expect a miracle to take place just because you're going digital. What do we mean by that? A lot of people, just because they're starting a digital transition from whatever records they have, hard copy records into an electronic format, a lot of folks think that just poof, everything's going to work out great. Can it? Maybe. Is it very likely? Not unless you've planned and prepared your project based on your records and getting everything right. An example of that would be, let's say you have a really, call it messy naming system for your files. You have thousands of folders and just really oddly named. There's no rhyme or reason to how everything's named. Just because you digitize those does not mean everything's going to be solved and all issues with finding files will just go away. Can it be easier to find stuff once it's digitized? Usually, because you can at least do it faster, but it doesn't mean that all the problems are going to go away. The files aren't going to magically just turn into some perfect organizational structure where you can locate what you need immediately. You still have to do the proper work up front to name files properly and get them organized so that they are easy to find later on. So digitizing does usually bring a general benefit to whatever whatever records you're scanning. There's usually a benefit just by going digital, but don't expect just everything to just all of a sudden turn into a perfect perfect records archive because you have scanned your files. So that's number one. Don't expect a miracle just because you're going digital. All right, number two, don't expect the lowest priced vendor to get you what you really want. Can the lowest priced company do what you need? Yes. Are they always going to? No. Will anyone you choose always be perfect? No. But the point we're going for here is a lot of people will immediately focus on, let's say you're comparing two companies. You'll probably feel a pull towards the one with the lower price. That's just natural because no one wants to spend more than they have to. But you just got to be careful because low price does not mean you're going to get quality, get whatever the best solution for your project, what it needs. So it doesn't mean you can't. Sometimes the lowest price company is the best option, and sometimes we're lower priced than the people we're competing against for a project. So it's not to say that you can't get something good out of a low price project. Just got to be careful. Something that's usually overlooked is that an initial low price does not mean the total price by the end of the project will also be low. An example would be a company gives you a quote and you see a couple items on there that are low priced for those particular units, but somewhere during the project something comes up that no one could have planned. You didn't know was going to happen, the company didn't know was going to happen, and now the price is going to change because of something new, or you thought you wanted something early on, so you got the low price quote for that, and then you change your mind later on. Money keeps getting added as you make changes or make adjustments to your project. So you could still end up with a high priced project that didn't seem like it would be expensive early on because you wanted to go with what you thought was a low price. So just got to be careful, keep an eye out for that. One way to mitigate paying low price up front but paying a lot later on could be to compare quotes apples to apples. So if you get multiple quotes, try to match up what you're really paying for, because some companies will give you a very sparse quote. Another company will just tie in everything into one price. So if you can try to kind of needle out where the comparisons are, that could be very useful. And you can ask the vendors that you're working with, the companies you're working with, to basically, give me A, B, C, D, E, F, and the prices for that, or just a total project price, however you want to do it, but so you can compare multiple quotes. That can somewhat mitigate the risks of, geez, this is a lower price, I should go with that so I don't pay more, when in effect you could pay a lot more because of some hidden costs. So don't expect the lowest price vendor to get you what you want. Be aware and try to make some comparisons when you're getting quotes. All right, number 3, the flip side of not expecting the lowest price vendor to get you want is also don't expect the highest price company to be the best. That's, I figure, common sense, but just because something's priced higher than another option does not mean it's better than it. Sometimes companies don't know how to price something properly, or they're just trying to make more money off the same service, whatever it is. Maybe they have higher costs because they use different contractors to do some of their work. Whatever it is, you want to try to get that apples to apples comparison. So just because you get, let's say, 2 or 3 quotes and one of them is higher, that does not mean it's a better value. You need to really dig into what they're providing. Does it match your needs? How do their prices and services compare with another company's? So something to be aware of, that high price does not equal quality or best of class. It's just people price things differently. So really dig into your project and understand what you want and what the company will give you when they work with you. Now we're on number 4. Don't expect perfection, because it just won't happen. Perfection is just usually not possible. I can't say never because I just can't. But perfection is something you should not expect going to a digital conversion project. Something will probably happen that you are not planning for, or some adjustment has to be made, or whatever. But it's good to not plan for everything to go exactly as you think or want it to go. Be flexible. An example would be, this might be stepping on my own toes for the next section, but a good example is like a wedding. Of course, let's say you're getting married and you want your wedding to go just perfectly. It's got to be the perfect wedding. Something always happens at weddings. Something happened at my wedding. Something happened at my parents' wedding. I know other folks, I've been to many weddings where something goes wrong, like sprinklers go off, or the wrong song is played at a certain point, or the food isn't brought out properly, whatever it is. But that's part of the experience. As long as you're willing to adapt and kind of go along with it, you're going to have a much better time. And I'm going back to the project, not the wedding anymore. You're going to have a much better time during a project if you're ready to adapt and be flexible and just collaborate with the company you're working with, because something's going to pop up that no one planned for, and as long as you're open to that, things will go well. You don't need everything to be perfect. You'll probably find things that as you go along your project, the company you're working with, they may bring something up to you that you didn't even know about, you didn't think about, and it'll make the project even better than if it went perfectly based on what you knew beforehand. So don't expect perfection. It's probably just not going to happen. Now we're switching over to what you should expect in your digital conversion project. And number 1 in this section is, and I keep looking over here because I just had some simple notes, I can't remember everything. So number 1, expect to be involved in the project. I'd say from start to finish, because there are many different phases of projects, and being involved is a positive. Early on, you're going to want to be involved with the sales rep as you create the scope of work and talk about what you want, what you're looking to do, what we can do for you, how we can make tweaks and things and make it better, all that front end work. And then once the project actually starts being scanned and converted, things come up, changes need to be made. Having you involved in that is critical to making the project a success. So when we deliver it, you've been along on the journey, and you know what was going on. You were part of the changes, part of the fixes or tweaks or whatever they were, and you know what to expect, and the project comes out as you would hope by the end. What we don't want is, let's say you don't want to be involved, or at any point in the project you say, here's what I want, here's my stuff, convert it. Let's call it a month-long project. We deliver a project at the end, all the completed files, and you say, wait a second, that's not what I thought it was going to be. That's what we're trying to avoid. So being involved and collaborative throughout the project journey is going to make life easy for everyone, and it's going to make a successful project for you. All right, number 2 in the what you should expect during your digital conversion project is you should expect your sales rep, your account executive, whatever the term is with the specific person you're working with, expect them to challenge you. What that means is, let's say you give us a call, you say, I have some records to scan, you describe your project, and you kind of just lay out, here's what I think it should be, just give me some PDFs. That could work. That may be exactly what you want, and you could have gone through hours and hours of thinking about it, and you know that's what you want. But since it's the first time we've talked to you, and maybe for a couple of the calls that our folks have with you, expect them to challenge you in the sense of asking, well, why do you want this? What's going to happen to it? What are the goals for your project? And really just kind of explore why you're doing something, because you may have an idea of what you want. It may not be the most optimal. So our reps are quite experienced. They've done hundreds or thousands of projects, and they want to get under the skin to really see what you want out of this project and what will be successful. So expect them to challenge you so they can pull that information out and then turn it into a successful project for you. So number 2 on the list, expect your sales rep, your account executive to challenge you about your project. Number 3, what you should expect during your digital conversion project is for your scanning partners, the company that's doing your scanning, expect your partner's project team to show you a better way. So I just mentioned before that your sales rep, the person working with you on the front end, expect them to challenge you. That goes into kind of a double effect once we actually get the project in-house. So our sales team has a certain level of knowledge about projects, which is more front-end design-wise. Once it actually gets into our production team's hands and they're doing the work, they're doing the scanning, doing the processing, creating the indexing, and everything that goes into the actual scanning and digital conversion, they have a different level of knowledge and expertise. So once we actually get the project in-house, we're churning away. If we either see something or find something out during that project, you can expect them to show you a better way than even what you and our sales rep collaborated on. So just because you design something up front with one of our sales reps and then it gets here, it can still change because the team in the back here, they are extremely knowledgeable about these projects, and they will come upon things that no one expected or they've seen before, and they say, hey, we've done this before, here's what we recommend to make this a better product, to make this a better application for you once your files are digitized and you're using them in electronic format. So expect that to happen as well. Even though you've been challenged and involved up front, when the project actually starts, things will always come up that will say, hey, here's something we think might be a better option. It's up to you to finally decide and approve that, but you should expect recommendations that come from our project team to make your project even more successful than you had originally designed with our front-end sales rep. I was going to say what number this is, but I actually forget what number I'm on, so I'll just say the next thing is to expect things to go wrong. I kind of took the wind out of my own sails earlier during the what you should not expect perfection item with that wedding analogy. That ties exactly into this. It's pretty much a flip side of the same idea. When you should expect things to go wrong, just like going back to the wedding analogy, expect something to happen that you didn't plan for. It may cause the overall project to not be exactly perfect, but if you're expecting something to happen, either a change or a kind of a little trip up somewhere along the project, then you'll be more prepared when it will happen. That might be something like, let's say you're scanning microfiche and you have 50,000 of them. You say they're all this certain type. We'll say jacket fiche. You think they're all jacket fiche. Halfway through, our project team may say, hey, you have com fiche, and that's outside the scope, and now we need to decide what to do with these, negotiate pricing for that, et cetera, et cetera. So that very minor case of expect something to happen that you didn't plan for, does it derail the entire project? No, of course not. But if you're expecting something to come up that you didn't plan for, that's a great way to go into these projects, so you're ready for it, you're mentally prepared, and it's not a surprise. It doesn't kind of take you aback and make you kind of flustered or whatever about the project. You're saying, oh, well, I expected something to happen. This is it. Great, let's deal with it. That's a great mindset to have going to a digital conversion project, because something will pop up. And does that actually mean something's going wrong, that example I gave? But something could go wrong. I'm just giving you a light example of just something that you didn't plan for. So if you expect something to go wrong or change or pop up, great frame of mind to have as you go into your project. All right, last one. What you should expect during your scanning project, your digital conversion project, is you should expect change. And the items that we've gone over previous to this, they pretty much allude to that, but it all comes down to be adaptable, be ready for change, be flexible, and you'll be in a great place, because things will go wrong, things will happen you didn't plan for, we'll have to pivot a bit and go a little different direction. Many things can happen over a scanning project, so as long as you're expecting change, you'll be ready for it. You'll be ready to adapt and collaborate with our team and come out at the back end with the best project you can have, because you were willing to adjust and tweak a little bit. So if you expect change, that's something to expect, and something to be to be ready for. And if you're ready for it, you're in a great place. So those are our thoughts on what you should and should not expect during a digital conversion project. There could, of course, be many more. Those are just a few that we want to lay out, kind of the big ones that we think of when we approach projects. If you're thinking about scanning your records, converting from hard copy to digital, or even digital to digital, give us a call, send us an email, and we'll get you set up with one of our reps to talk about scope and how we can work together. Other than that, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time on the Digital Imaging channel. Thanks.